Okay, so now we're in the second part of using the Essential Graphics panel to draw with some shapes and using various layers, etc. So I'm going to click on my graphic that's in my timeline right now, and I can see that reviewing we have the house, and we have it grouped up here in the Essential Graphics. When we expand that drop down, we can see all the different layers, and you could still go back into those layers and make adjustments, whatever you want, right? Or you could just click on the entire house, and it gives you a few options if you wanted to reposition things and all of that. Okay. Also, just before I jump forward, you can also click down here in the timeline, and you can go into the essential graphics, and you have essentially the same access to these things here. Okay. So you can still adjust, your position. If you wanted to, adjust the position, you can do it here as well. Okay. But I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. Again, as I've mentioned in previous tutorials and classes, Premiere, Adobe is very smart. It gives you different ways to do the same thing. Lots of options. Okay. So I'm going to close that back up over there. So now we're going to add some background. We're going to create some grass, a sky, and throw a sun up there just to give us a sense of, home, right? So now I don't want this to be part of this same layer, right? So I'm going to go in my timeline and release and click away, right? If it's selected, just click anywhere away from that layer, right? In a blank area. You can leave the playhead where it is. And now you've released it, right? So now we'll go edit and new layer, and let's see, what are we doing? We're going to just do another rectangle, right? So spread that out and make that nice and wide. Okay. Go beyond the boundaries of the background, and just drop it down, and I don't know, somewhere like that. And this is going to be grass, so click down here and fill. And for fun, why don't we use a linear gradient, right there, linear gradient, and click on green, and let's put a sort of a bright green on one end, and click on the other end, and maybe, I don't know, make a slightly darker green. Actually, I'm going to click on here and make that even brighter. So give me a little nuance, and then you can play with the opacity and how that filters together and dissolves into each other and that kind of stuff. Click OK. All right, so I've got some grass. Okay, and now you can see the grass technically in the timeline is actually on 2, right? So we don't want that, right? Because the grass doesn't sit on top of the house sits on top of the grass. First off, before we go any further, let's go up in the Essential Graphics. This is shape 1. Let's just name that grass. Okay, boom. And let's go ahead and move that over and drop that down to 1 and put the house on 2. Just push it up and then bring the grass underneath, and there you go. Now the house is sitting on top of the grass, right? That's our hierarchy, right? The higher numbers are the foreground, just like they do work up here in the Essential Graphics. That's consistent, all right? So we've got grass, and while we're at it, let's click on the grass in the timeline, and let's graphics titles and upgrade that to source and call it grass. So that way we have everything here in the project panel. Save. Now again, release, click away. So none of those layers are selected. Go to edit, new layer, another rectangle, right? And this is going to be the sky. So just fill up the rest of the background. And you can create a little overlap, so that way it looks like it's something, it's coming from behind. And again, fill. Let's do a gradient. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Oh, that's a solid linear. And let me see. Let me click here and give me like a little variation of blue. Let's click over here, maybe a little something. I like that. There you go. And then maybe bring a little bit more of that. Whatever, you can play with that all you want. So there's my sky. Now, of course, now it's sitting on top of the house, right? So we need to move that down. Oops, that's opacity, by the way. I didn't mean to adjust that. I'm just going to grab it here, push it down, grab the house, push it up, and then slide um, the um, the sky behind it. So now we have the grass, the sky actually above it, which is fine. It really wouldn't look that different if you put the grass on 2. It probably would look pretty much the same. Not really a big difference because it's just cutting it off, but you can pretend it's the background. Okay. All right. So let's leave it like that. Put the sky and then the grass. So the sky is on video 1, grass is on video 2, the house is on 3. Okay. Let's add a sun. Okay. Deselect everything. Don't have anything checked. Oh, we didn't go ahead and name our sky, which is right now on 1. It's shape 1 here. Click and sky. Okay, boom. And let's go, while it's still selected in the timeline, go to source graphic. Hang on a minute. Let's try that again. Graphics and titles, upgrade to source graphic and sky. Now, another thing you can do too, as you start adding layers here, if you're ever not quite sure, maybe you're looking at this, or maybe you've got these like really skinny, right? Because you're going to do like, 20 layers. If you ever want to know what layer it is, you can certainly click like that, but you can also have the little toggle track output. So, okay, that's house, that's the grass, and that's the sky, right? So it's kind of like a little video mute button, but it's a nice way to identify what layer you're looking at. Okay, so let's add the sun here. Again, deselect everything, go to edit, new layer, and we'll do an ellipse. And I'm going to put the sun over here. I'm going to make it a little bit more circular, bring it over here, and I'm going to color that, of course, yellow. And now when you get this warning, this is giving you um, it's a saturation warning. It's an NTSC TV broadcast warning that's telling you that what you selected is a little bit too potentially bright or too much chroma. And if you click on that, it kind of like takes it down to what is more considered NTSC safe, TV broadcast safe. For now, that's all I'm going to tell you. Click OK. All right, so I've got the sun here. I'm going to name it. Now, if I wanted to really make this more like a sun, because it kind of looks like a moon, but I don't want to take too much time, I would go ahead and still keep it selected here, right? And then I would do, for example, like a rectangle, but I would make it like really skinny, right? And then I'd have like rays sticking out, right? And then I could move that over, right, and position that up there. I can even grab this. Now that won't let me really. Okay. And bring it up and then position it so I would have rays sticking out, and I would duplicate this. I'm going to sort of do it, and I would copy, and then I would like paste, for example, and you could grab copies of this, right, and pull it off. See? Right? So you've got multiple layers of that, and there it is again. And then you could position those to stick out from the sun. Okay, you could put them behind, and then you would put the sun up top, so you would see the rays sticking out. But I'm not actually going to do that because to position them is going to take a time. But I'm going to a minute, so I'm just like giving you a little heads up on that. I'm going to delete those. We'll just keep it the sun with a circle, right? You could also try something like the polygon, right, which is going to give you that, and so you could sort of like try to position these, and have them sticking out. Again, there's also pen tools, which we're not going to cover on this tutorial right now, and so that would be like a red, and you could sort of like have it sticking out. Okay, you get it, right? Actually, hang on, I just clicked on sky. Let me go back to sun. So anyway, so that would be array. So anyway, just giving you that option, okay? But you could do that on your own. I don't want to take too much time. So now we've got the sun, and we've got the house, the sky, and the background. Okay, let me there we go. Let me expand the height of those tracks so we can see at least the images, right? So I've got sun selected. I'm going to go up to graphics and upgrade that and call it the sun. Okay, And I'm going to stop here on part two, and then we're going to continue going into the third part of this tutorial where we're going to animate the sun and we're going to play with some layers and make it look like the sun's coming up, etc. All right, so stay tuned for the next part.